All right, let's give this a second try this morning. Good morning, Idea Lab. Suzanne Taylor here, live for day two of the Build Your Authority Challenge. Um, this is my second attempt at a live video here on my desktop. I'm going to wait a few minutes to see who hops in. I had a couple of people here before my internet connection was going in and out. One of the beauties of going live, and you can't edit this stuff, right? So you are here in the I'm Suzanne Taylor. I am a life and business coach for entrepreneurs, and I've had some sort of business for over 30 years. And the last 12 years, I've spent it as a coach. My coaching practice has changed over the years, health and wellness to fitness to positive psychology. And now I use all of that in combination to coach my entrepreneur clients. So, welcome to day two of Build Your Authority Challenge. If you're here live, let me know you can see and hear me in the comments. Say hello. Let me know what you're doing this morning, where you're joining in from. And if you caught the last two trainings on Friday and Saturday, what was your big takeaway? And today, I'm going to talk about ideal client foundations. Now, if you're here in this group and you're an entrepreneur, I am sure you've done ideal client work before. And the way I do it is a little different. And this foundational piece of building and growing your business is really a secret of mine. It's a secret sauce that helps you build that authority in a new and different way, helps you stand out. Good morning, Denise. Working out at home, watching on my phone. All right. Hopefully, I'm not cutting in and out like I was before. All right, so today we are going to dive into ideal client research and reconnaissance. That's what I like to call it. So I did a pretty good job repeating what I said on the last video. So today, this, you know, I really think this is a missing piece that a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs skip over. So whether you have an in-person business or an online business, or like me, a combination of both, it's super important for you to know who your ideal client is, where they hang out, and I'm going to give you some tips today to really narrow in on that and find them a little bit better. Then the knowledge bomb at the end is going to be how you can start today showing up and building that authority. Make sense? Give me a thumbs up in the comments if that makes sense. All right, let's jump into today's content. I don't like to spend too much time on the fluffy stuff. I want to dive right in. So here we go. I'm pulling up my notes. Now, good morning, Roberta. Thanks for hopping back on. So, if you are looking for your ideal client, right, I want to just say yes, we all are. You know, those clients that light you up, that excite you, that are really fun to work with. Those hell yes clients. We all want more of those, correct? Give me a hell yes in the comments. Yes, Roberta gives me a thumbs up. Awesome, awesome. So, identifying your target audience, here's the simple tricks. What problem does your solution solve? Now, why this is key. If you don't know the problem that exists in the marketplace, if you haven't done your research and found that gap in the market, how do you know how to describe, word, and sell your product? Cool, Roberta. Hell yes. Awesome. So, knowing the problem that you solve, this is not just you. again. Um, hmm. All right, let me know if you can see and hear me okay. Um, for example, if you offer a tech solution like I do with my team, I have a funnel creation software, and that is an option for people just to buy my software solution. Monthly payment, it solves all of your tech issues in your business for $97 a month. Super cool, right? So if you offer something like that to your audience, what's the problem that you're solving for them from their perspective? So, as an entrepreneur, I wanted to solve tech overwhelm. How many different platforms do I need to learn? How many do I have to pay for every month? And I was really struggling to get my clients on board with technology. And it was super important for me to find a solution for them as well as for me. So now, from my client's perspective, not being tech savvy, not knowing what's out there in the marketplace, I could solve two problems for them. One, I could give them an all-in-one solution, and I could solve that overwhelm with learning 10 different platforms and paying for 10 different platforms, right? So you see how I had to look at it from my client's perspective. So maybe it's, templates that you solve, maybe it's resources that you solve, maybe it's a toxin solution that you solve. Maybe it's an ease of purchase thing that you solve. So let's get really clear of what your audience has as a problem and then how you solve it. And then after that, I want you to narrow in on that person who needs the product. So we're going to describe them: age, height, weight, name, sex, what they do for a living, where they hang out online. And you can talk directly to them in your lead magnet, in your posts, in your videos, like right now, right? Like I'm talking to you guys here in the Idea Lab. For example, if your audience is a bunch of mommy bloggers, then you want to talk directly to them. But your audience might not all be mommy bloggers. You see where I'm going with this. But by speaking directly to your client, you're going to attract more of those hell yes ones and repel the maybes. And it's those maybes that are the time suck in your business. I don't mean they're not nice people. Like, no. I mean that they're going to take up your time. They are going to book calls with you and then not pay for anything. They're going to require more follow up, more emails, more phone calls, and more time on your brain than the hell yes clients. Now, let me repeat this. Um, let me know if this is making sense. Those hell yes people are easier sells. They're going to say yes right away to your product or your service. And those maybe people are the ones that require follow up, phone calls, emails. So, what if you just didn't do those? I know this was really, really a pivot changing mindset place in my business. Let me know if this is making sense so far. Okay, then I want you to look at what benefits does your customer need from your product, and how does that fit into the gap in the market, and how do you find the gap in the market? This is reconnaissance 101. How do you find the gap in the market with what you do? You have to research your competition. You have to know what's out there on the market. What are the gurus selling? What is the top person in your industry, your company selling and doing? Watch them, learn from them. There's a reason why they are successful. Now, it wasn't until I got off Facebook and stopped looking at every person who had a Facebook group as an expert, and I looked at not only who those people were learning from, but who those people were learning from. Now, let me go a little deeper on that for you. So, I looked at the top successful online entrepreneurs, people like Ryan Levesque, Todd Herman, Grant Cardone. Um, there's Marie Forleo. There's so many. Um, Kim Walsh Phillips. I looked at them and then I said, who are they learning from? Who are they masterminding with? So I joined a mastermind with Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and Russell Brunson. It was a huge mastermind. And it was a big investment for me a couple years ago. And I learned who they have learned online marketing from. Well, isn't that interesting? And those people that they were paying and listening to and masterminding with on a monthly basis were people that you've never heard of. They're not on Facebook. They're not on LinkedIn. They're not on Instagram posting pictures. No, they don't need to be. They're teaching at a really high level. And I said, that's who I want to learn from. So by identifying who the expert that you follow, so imagine you're in network marketing, who's the top person in your company, the owner of your company, who is their coach, who are they learning from? And you can find this out. And if you need help doing your detective work, let me know in the comments. Um, so by identifying who people learn from, now this was super enlightening for me. I learned a process that I could do in my business that felt authentic to me. And believe me, it took a lot of looking. But if you don't start the looking, if you don't start these foundational things of research and finding the gap in your market, then you're never going to be able to do this. So I want to really encourage you to take a step back, learn who the experts that you follow are learning from. And if you have questions about that, hit me up. I'm happy to tell you who I'm learning from right now, currently. Might be too advanced for you, but that's okay. I'm happy to divulge that information. Now, how do you find the gap in the market? This is my secret tip. Go to Amazon and look up that person's book. I'm going to use Russell Brunson, for example, because he has a software that everybody uses for funnels. I have a software that everybody uses for funnels. I would love to be as big as him, a quarter as big as him. Cool. Well, I went to his book and not only did I on Amazon, and I looked at the negative reviews, those 1-star reviews, they divulge a ton of information about the gap in the market. So I learned that Russell tells you how to build funnels, gives you the software to build funnels, but his company does not do it for you. I can solve that. And that helps me identify a huge gap in the market. And I could have a team fulfill that for me and not do it myself. So let me know if you have questions so far about identifying that gap in the market for you. Then, after you have your gap, I want you to really dive into where your ideal client hangs out. And if it's on Facebook, well, awesome. Know what Facebook groups to provide value in and show up in. And if you need a list of Facebook groups that allow promotions different days of the week, let me know in the comments. And that's going to be one of the resources for you guys for this week's challenge. So, knowing where your ideal client hangs out. And hey, I'm a huge advocate of getting offline. I'm going to say it. 90% of my business was built offline. Let me repeat that. 90% of my business was built offline. Do you know how much of your business is built offline? Let me know in the comments. Come on, there's four of you live here. Ask your questions, interact. This is how you get more help. This is how I take the content custom. So, how much of your business is offline? People referring to you offline, people knowing what you do offline. Now, granted, the last year and a half has been a shit show with actually getting in front of people offline, but business can still come from offline groups, networking, even though it's virtual. It can come from being off social media. I want you to get thinking out of the box on that. So, lastly, when, where, and how does your ideal client like to make a purchase? Do they like high-end products? Do they like freebies? Do they like $47 pocket products? How do they like to purchase? Do they like to touch your products before buying? Do they want samples of your product before buying? Do they want to attend a masterclass online and learn more about what your website and what your products offer? We need to know this in order to show up online how they want to see us. Forget about how you want to show up. I'm just going to say that too. Forget about what's comfortable for you and decide to show up how it's comfortable for them. Oh, I kind of like that. That just came out. So, as you can see, everything that we've talked about so far about your ideal client is a little different. It's got a little twist to it. Denise says, not too much offline, but working on that. Yes. More than I think when it comes to referrals. Yes. Um, Rachel says she loves to know who you are working with. Yes, yes, yes. Um, so all of these little strategies kind of take that ideal client work just a little step further. So this locks in awareness, consideration, and knowing your ideal client's decision-making process. How do they decide to buy? Is it from meeting you? Is it from email? Is it from going to a website and seeing purchase, purchase, purchase? We need to know how their decision making process is, and then we can meet them on that journey with content. Ida, all right. Ooh, this is a good one, Ida. Thank you for sharing this. I will come back and answer your question after this live. I want to finish up with our tips to figure out where your ideal clients hang out online. Ready? Figure out who they are. Yeah, we just talked about that. Discover the terms that they use. What are the words that your ideal client uses? Now, if you're in health and wellness and you're using the word wellness or well being, your ideal client might not be using that. They might be looking at how to lose weight, how to get fit, how to feel better, how to have more energy. You see, they're looking at it from a more negative standpoint. And because you're providing wellness or fitness or nutrition services, you're looking at it from a more positive standpoint. Make sense? Cool. Discover and search for your ideal clients using Google. Use those terms that they use and see what comes up. How to lose weight, how to get rid of eczema. Do the Google searches that your ideal clients are doing and see where they're ending up. Then search for them using hashtags on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Look at where existing traffic to your website is coming from. If you can't do that, let me know in the comments and I can point you to some resources to learn how to use Google on your website and Facebook. Sorry, my allergies are bothering me today. And when you find your ideal client and you work with them, ask them. Ask them, how'd you find me? What made you send me a friend request? What made you like my page? What stood out for you? How did you find me 10 years ago, end up following me for 8 years or 10 years, and then working with me now? What makes this the right time for you? You see where I'm going with these questions. So, by finding one of your ideal clients, I'm sure we've all had at least one, right? And ask how and why and when they followed you. I guarantee they followed you or they knew about you way before they ever worked with you because people are watching. And I'm going to use Roberta as an example, who's here on this live. People are watching her, whether they like, whether they comment, because I hear about it. And that's really cool. Roberta's been a client for almost a year, and she's really stepped out of her shell. She's doing Facebook Live. She's improving her online skills every day. And that's what it takes. Keep improving and keep growing. Rachel said, like that you mentioned, the more negative than positive. I have recently been advised to approach messaging from a positive viewpoint, which I know that is not what my ideal client. I'm going to address that right now, Rachel. Yes, if you're learning online, and let me think about how to word this. So if you're learning online and you're learning your ideal client language, what the mainstream will tell you is to approach it from the positive. Talk about how your ideal client wants to feel. And I'm going to argue that with this. What keeps your ideal client up at night? What wakes them up at 3 o'clock in the morning and prevents them from going back to sleep? It is not positive. So if you can solve that 3 a.m. problem, and I forget who called it that, might have been Aaron Fletcher, that 3 a.m. problem is not positive. And I have my master's in positive psychology. I'm all about the positive. But that problem that keeps your ideal client up at night, wakes them up out of a sound sleep, is not positive. That voice in their head is not positive. And if you can replicate that voice in their head, your client feels as though, your ideal client, your prospective client, feels as though you already know them. You already understand them. Let me know if that makes sense, Rachel, and happy to talk to you more about that. All right, guys, that is almost 30 minutes today. We got a little sketchy start here on Facebook Live. Your homework today for day 2 of the Build Your Authority Challenge is to come back here in the group later today after you have Googled your client's 3 a.m. wake up problem. So, whatever your 3 a.m. wake up problem is of your ideal client, I want you to go Google that and tell me what comes up in the results number 1 through 5. Yes, Rachel said makes sense. Just have to remember that myself and stop doubting when told, oh, girl, yes, stop doubting your intuition. That could be a whole class on itself in finding your ideal client. So thanks for recognizing that. Good job. All right, have an awesome day today. Don't forget to do your homework. And if you're catching the replay of this video, put hashtag replay and ask your questions in the comments, and I'll be happy to help. I'm here all day. Have an awesome one.